Hello there! My name is Tanner, and I'd like to welcome you back to my YouTube channel. So, let's address the elephant in the room. I got my original background back. I also would like to wish everyone a happy Valentine's Day. I even wore my red shirt just for the occasion. Now, since this video will be released on Valentine's Day, aka the most romantic day of the year, and yet at the time of recording is closer to Chinese New Year, I thought to myself, why not combine those two aspects and tell you the most romantically tragic story that I know, aka the Chinese legend of Hou Yi and Chang'e. Now, like with all of my other myth and legend retellings, linked to the playlist in the cards and in the description down below, I intend to keep this story as mythologically accurate as possible, but when necessary, I will be taking some creative liberties. One more thing I gotta say before I move on. This story, or at least the version that I know, basically starts out the same, but then branches off into multiple different endings. So, in order to be as mythologically accurate as possible, I will begin the story where it usually begins, but then branch off into the multiple different endings and talk about them in turn. So, without further ado, here is the story of Hou Yi and Chang'e. Once upon a time, the Jade Emperor, ruler of the gods of heaven, and head of the celestial bureaucracy, had 10 sons, who, at that time, all shared the job of being god of, well, the sun. Each day, they would take turns to give those in the mortal realm the nourishing light and warmth of the day. However, for some rebellious reason best left to them, one day, all 10 of the suns decided to rise at once. Needless to say, this was very bad news for the mortal realm, as the temperature became unbearably hot, the crops dried out and withered, and the earth overall was scorching. The Jade Emperor, understandably, was having none of this, and summoned Hou Yi, god of archery, to see if he could rein in the suns a little bit. Hou Yi took the challenge and set out to see these 10 suns. Now, the first thing he did was to try and convince them to get back to doing their job properly and stop scorching the earth. The 10 sons, feeling particularly rebellious, said, "No, we want to play together." So talking to them didn't work. The next thing Hou Yi tried was threatening them by knocking an arrow on his bow and taking aim. That didn't work either. Finally, as a last resort, Hou Yi took 9 arrows and shot down the first 9 sons, killing them and leaving only 1 son, as it should be. Needless to say, this made the Jade Emperor very upset at Hou Yi, even though technically there was nothing else he really could have done. As punishment, the Jade Emperor stripped Hou Yi and his wife Chang'e of their celestial status, thereby making them as mortal as you can get, and banished them from heaven. Hou Yi and Chang'e were, understandably, distraught at this new development, as well as fearful of the looming specter of their new mortality. Chang'e was even more distressed than Hou Yi was because, as far as she knew, she was being punished alongside her husband for really no reason other than being associated with him. Hou Yi noticed his wife's gloominess, and so he set out to plead their case to Shi Wangmu, the Queen Mother of the West. When he made the long, perilous journey to her palace, he told her the story of their circumstances. Shi Wangmu was sympathetic to his plight and gave him one of the fabled pills of immortality. Now it is here where the story branches off into the different endings. So, I am going to start with the worst of the three endings that I know first, then the slightly better ending after that, and then save, in my opinion, the best ending for last. Be careful with this pill, Hou Yi, Shi Wangmu told him. You only have enough for either both of you to regain your immortality, or for only one of you to regain your celestial status. So, if you wish to stay together, you will need to split this pill in half. Also, the celestial peaches that are one of the main ingredients for this pill only grow once every 5,000 years. So, if you fudge it up, you will lose your chance for good. Hou Yi took the box containing the pill, thanked Shi Wangmu, and made the perilous journey back. He came upon their mortal home and told Chang'e about the pill. Unfortunately, he only had enough time to say, "It will give our immortality back," before Chang'e took the pill and swallowed it, leaving him no time to tell her that they needed to split it. Chang'e immediately regained her godhood and tried to ascend to heaven. Tried being the operative word there. Because technically, she was still banished. And so, since she couldn't return to heaven or return to Earth, she made her way to the moon and made that her home. As for Hou Yi, he was eternally separated from his wife and still mortal. So, he lived out the rest of his days on Earth until one of his apprentices, named Feng Meng, murdered him out of jealousy for Hou Yi's superior archery skills. Now, technically, that first ending is considered the bad ending. So, let's rewind a bit and start on the second, slightly better story path, shall we? Be forewarned, Hou Yi, Shi Wangmu said. There is only enough for one of you to regain your immortality and your celestial status. You will have to discuss with Chang'e who is going to get the pill. When Hou Yi got back, he explained the situation to his wife. So, let me get this straight, she said. Shi Wangmu gave us a pill of immortality, but there's only enough for one of us to become immortal. I'm afraid so, my love, and I've thought long and hard about it. I definitely think you need it more than I do. You should not be punished for what I have done. But, husband, Chang'e said, I don't want to live without you. And neither do I want to live without you, he replied. Well, then why don't we save it? Hide it away, in case of an emergency. Hou Yi agreed to this idea. So they took the box containing the pill and hid it in a very special place. They soon got used to doing things the mortal way, and Hou Yi took on apprenticing a young man named Feng Meng. Now, Feng Meng soon learned about this pill and decided to steal it and become a god himself. So, while Hou Yi was busy teaching some of his other apprentices, Feng Meng snuck away and made his way to their house to rob it. When he intruded, he surprised Chang'e and tried to threaten her into giving him the pill. Now, Chang'e was then faced with two different choices. On the one hand, she could die and let this jerk get the pill, or she could take it herself before he could. Needless to say, the choice was pretty clear. As her body overflowed with godly power, Feng Meng tried to shoot her down, but Hou Yi stepped in and stopped him before he could. Chang'e floated up to the moon, not because she was no longer allowed in heaven, but so she could be closer to Hou Yi on earth, who, in return, would leave out offerings in the form of her favorite fruits and cakes. Meanwhile, he would eventually live and die of old age, and Chang'e would live on the moon forevermore. Now, if the first ending was bad and this ending was slightly better, that must mean I saved the best ending for last. So, let's rewind a bit again and start on the third and final ending, at least of the ones that I know. Hou Yi and Chang'e would end up both regaining their godhood, but because he was mad that they got their immortality back, the Jade Emperor then separated them and forced Chang'e to build a palace on the moon and Hou Yi to build a palace on the sun, thereby having to live without each other for all eternity. However, once a year during the Mid-Autumn Moon Festival, the Jade Emperor gets just drunk enough to allow Hou Yi and Chang'e to reunite for that one night. And there we have it. That was the story of Hou Yi and Chang'e, including the 3 different story endings that I know of. If you liked this video and you want more, please give this video a like and subscribe down below so you don't miss any new videos. Also, if there are any other ideas for any future videos, please leave your thoughts in the comments down below, and it might just happen. Oh, one more thing before I go. I have another video in the works that's going to be a little bit different than my usual format. But in order for it to happen, I am going to need your help. If you want to participate, please comment below with a dream that you remember having, and I, using this dream dictionary that I happen to possess, will do my best to interpret that dream on camera. Please have your dream submissions ready by Wednesday the 24th at the very latest. Alright, well, that's all the time I have for this video, so I will see you all next week with a brand new one. See you then!